Hello, everybody. This is Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, where we watch old 16mm films. And I'm going to adjust this camera just a little bit so it's not so much headspace. I'm wearing a See It on 16 shirt that was made by a film collector exhibitor in Los Angeles, Southern California area, who does screenings. And he only did a limited run of these shirts. I think he should constantly keep these in print because they're so great. Anyways, it's gross outside. Holy cow. My intern and we schlepped a bunch of films yesterday, and it was, ugh. The film vault, the new space is, thankfully it's cooled, but you still got to get from point A to point B, and it's just that time outside is just, ugh, miserable. So in the course of moving things back and forth, I occasionally pull some films that I'm like, oh, I don't know if we've seen these, and I scan them. And so that's what we've been doing, is watching a lot of these. We got some Fs, we got some Hs. Somehow I missed the Gs, but that's okay. Plenty of time. We'll just keep doing this until I'm done. So anyways, this first film is Fair Chance for Tommy. And I swear the narrator sounds like Stuart Finley, the guy who does all those films from the late 60s, early 70s about dumps and dumpsters. But it's not him, it's somebody else. So here we go. Fair Chance for Tommy. Enjoy.
This is Tommy, 4th grade, 10 years old, full of the joy of life. For Tommy and his classmates, each new day holds bright promise. There are new things to see, new things to do, new games to play. For Tommy, each new day is an adventure in friendship, in learning, in discovery. Mrs. Clark knows and understands Tommy and the other pupils in her 4th grade. She knows that to keep up with his classmates, Tommy needs some extra help. That seat in front of the room, his eyeglasses, the special book holder. Each is part of the help Tommy and 70,000 other children in the United States need to keep up with their classmates. For Tommy is a partially seeing child. In his regular classroom, there are some things he cannot see clearly. An ordinary map, clear to others, is a blur to Tommy. And so, for him and for other partially seeing children, there is a larger, clearer map in a special classroom. There, too, is Miss Allen, a special teacher, trained to work with partially seeing children. From her, Tommy and the other visually handicapped children in his school get the special help they need to learn with, to keep up with his regular 4th grade classmates. In her classroom, Miss Allen uses an array of skills and equipment designed to meet the needs of her students, partially seeing pupils who come to her from many different grades, from diverse school backgrounds. The special classroom has typewriters with extra large-size letters, reading, writing, and spelling sheets on which big letters can be written. There are magnifying devices, recording machines, audio devices, adjustable book stands, which hold books at a proper and helpful angle to the eyes, and books with large size type for easier seeing, for easier reading. This soft, wide diameter chalk that Miss Allen is using makes a heavier line than ordinary chalk, a line that partially seeing children can see more easily. Grace is an older girl, one of Miss Allen's more advanced students. The machine she is learning to type on is one with larger than usual letters. The individual attention Miss Allen is giving her, the practical and valuable skill Grace is acquiring in the special classroom, will give her a fair chance in her regular grade room, and a fair chance, too, in the years which lie beyond her schooling. In Miss Allen's room, an ordinary dictionary with small-face print is replaced with one which has larger letters, larger words, words more quickly, more easily readable. Today there are hundreds of books available, printed in such special large-face type. Miss Allen and other teachers of partially seeing children all over the country make good use of these in their classrooms. There are times, however, when the book desired is printed only in regular type. To help partially seeing children who must read and study with these books, a magnifying device is conveniently at hand. When swung over the book, it enlarges words and pictures so that these can be read and studied. Nancy and Marcia are 6 years old, first graders in their regular classrooms, and just beginning to learn reading. Both are visually handicapped. To help them keep up with their classmates, Miss Allen has prepared a large-sized reading chart, one that fits their learning level, one that uses big letters for small words.
Jane, but, come, run. Tim.
That's right, Nancy. Tim it is. Not bad for a first grader. Miss Allen's special training enables her to work with pupils of all grade levels. This is important because in her room, children of many different grades often attend class at the same time. The special classroom makes good use of modern audio equipment. Many exciting and educational children's stories are available only in books of standard size type. But partially seeing children can listen to many such stories on specially made records. Like Tommy here, pupils in Miss Allen's room soon learn to use these records on the classroom phonograph.
Why, she swallowed a fly. Poor old lady, I think she'll die. Poor old lady, she swallowed a cow. I don't know why she swallowed a cow. She swallowed the cow to catch the dog. She swallowed the dog to catch the cat. She swallowed the cat to catch the bird. She swallowed the bird to catch the spider. She swallowed the spider to catch the fly. I don't know why she swallowed a fly. Poor old lady, I think she'll die. Poor old lady, she swallowed a horse. She died, of course.
Another useful audio device is the recording machine. Here, Miss Allen is recording a prepared lesson, one that fits the needs of a particular group of pupils. While the recorder plays back the lesson, Miss Allen is free to give her attention to a different group or child.
A wire for carrying current was put above the street, and a cable and wheel from the car were connected to it. This wheel was called a troller and later trolley. So these cars...
To supplement and improve Tommy's general classroom work, Miss Allen takes time to give him some extra help. Every day, in many different ways, the special classroom teacher gives such attention to her pupils. Like boys and girls whose vision is normal, partially seeing children vary in ability to learn, in adjustment to particular subjects, in aptitudes. For some pupils, a touch of individual attention can mean the difference between success and failure in a subject. Fortunately, most schools and communities have a relatively small number of children who are partially seeing. and so it is not too difficult for the special teacher to give sufficient time and effort to each child. In areas where only 2 or 3 partially seeing children attend a school, the special teacher travels from school to school on a prearranged schedule to teach her pupils. But whatever the arrangement, teachers of the partially seeing have one common aim: to help their pupils avoid a penalty for being visually handicapped, to help each child strengthen his knowledge, to help each child develop and learn to the best of his ability. When it's time to rejoin his regular class, Tommy can carry on with the others as a full-fledged member of his own 4th grade. Key to the success of Tommy's education and his progress as a student is the periodic conference between Mrs. Clark and Miss Allen. In these exchanges of information, they discuss Tommy's schoolwork and his progress in a particular subject. Or they might talk of Miss Allen's visit to Tommy's home to check on his need for good lighting. At these conferences, too, there are discussions of the doctor's report on Tommy's eye condition, or the school nurse's report on the information the doctor has given her. All in all, Tommy's teachers agree it is plain that the extra assistance he is getting is helping him keep up with his class. As Mrs. Clark puts it, partially seeing children aren't so different. Not so different. That's the key idea. Given that extra bit of help in the special classroom, Tommy finds it easy to keep up with the others in his regular class. He can acquire simple and useful manual skills while attending the school workshop with the other boys. Along with his fellow 4th graders, he is able to attend the regularly scheduled art classes, there to learn how to draw, to learn to paint, to explore with his friends and classmates the wonders of color and form and line. He can take part in the play and recreation periods in the school playground and join with other boys and girls in spirited and exciting games. In our schools, as in our homes, we help our children form the patterns of their later lives. Each child, we soon learn, is an individual, a growing person, whose life will be as full, whose life will be as rich as his individual talents and opportunities will permit, if only we help each one to use these talents fully. Our partially seeing children ask no less of us, deserve no less. For our partially seeing children, we can do no less. Each of them needs what Tommy needs. What Tommy is getting: a fair chance for a fair start in life.
Yeah, it's great. Fascinating. So there's vacuuming going on upstairs, which is what you're hearing. And for some reason, it is sunny outside, but it's raining like crazy. So it's got to be really gross outside right now. All right. What have we got next? Okay, so I showed this a long time ago, like 4 years ago. And I love it. We'll watch it again. This is how to dig a hole to the other side of the world. It's a how-to. Maybe this is something your kids can work on this summer. Enjoy.
How to dig a hole to the other side of the world. a soft place. Take a shovel and start to dig a hole. The dirt you dig up is called loam. Loam, or topsoil, is made up of tiny bits of rock mixed with many other things, such as plants and worms that died and rotted long ago. When you have dug through the topsoil, you'll come to clay or gravel or sand. The digging will be harder. When the hole is 5 or 6 feet deep, you'd better ask a friend to help. She can pull up the clay or gravel in a bucket while you stay at the bottom of the hole and keep digging. Sooner or later, you'll come to rocks, all sorts of rocks. Big rocks, little rocks, granite, limestone, sandstone. If you started your hole in Africa, you might find diamonds. In Brazil, you might find emeralds. In other places, you might find coal, or gold or silver. Wherever you dig, watch for old bones and shells. The bones of many animals, dinosaurs, giant tigers, turtles, and other creatures of long ago, are buried everywhere. If you find some, dust them off carefully and save them. When you have dug about 50 feet down, maybe more or maybe less, you will come to solid rock. This is the rocky skin of the earth, called the crust. It's mostly granite. To dig through it, you will need a drilling machine. Start drilling. You may hit water. Rain sinks through the topsoil and gathers in pools and underground rivers. If you come to water, you should put on a diving suit. You may come to a lake of black, gooey oil. If you hit oil, it would be best to give up this hole and start another somewhere else. Keep drilling. When you have drilled down a mile or so, the rock will be warm. This is because heat flows up into the rock from the center of the earth. You may hit boiling water or steam. This is because rainwater drips down through cracks onto very hot rock. Sometimes it comes up again. In some places on Earth, hot water bubbles up in springs or shoots up in geysers. Because of the boiling water and steam, you will need an asbestos diving suit. Stay out of the way of geysers. If you got caught in a geyser, it might carry you up to the surface and shoot you into the air. When you came down, you would have to start digging all over again. Keep drilling for 10 or 20 miles. You will come to a kind of rock called basalt. Basalt is black and hard and smooth and heavy. There is a layer of basalt 2 or 3 miles thick wrapped around the earth. Keep drilling. As you go deeper, the basalt will get hotter and hotter. It will get so hot that it will melt and glow dark red. Melted basalt is called magma. This is the stuff that sometimes shoots out of cracks in the earth and makes volcanoes. When it cools on top of the ground, it is called lava. Volcanoes are very dangerous. Be careful and don't get caught in one. To go through red-hot magma, you will need a jet-propelled submarine. It must have a supercooling system, a fireproof skin, and a drill at the tip of its nose. Your nose spaceship must be very strong. An ordinary one would be squashed by the weight of the magma around it. Or burned up by the heat. Down here, below the crust of the Earth, it is hotter than any fire you ever felt. And it will get hotter and hotter the deeper you go. When you've gone down about 150 miles, you're in what is called the mantle of the Earth. The mantle is made of basalt that is melted into goo, and at the same time is harder than steel. It is melted by the great heat, and is hard because of the great weight above pressing it down. Keep drilling. You still have a long way to go. The mantle is 1,700 miles thick. As you go down, down, down in your fireproof submarine, you will notice that the color of the mantle turns from red to orange to yellow. This is because it's getting hotter and hotter. At the bottom of the mantle, the temperature is more than 3,000 degrees Celsius. It is so hot that if your ship caught fire, it wouldn't even leave an ash. At the bottom of the mantle, you are more than halfway to the center of the Earth. Now you must go through what is called the outer core of the Earth. It is a mixture of melted rock and iron. It is 1,300 miles thick. It will be hard going, but if you have come this far, you should keep on. You are getting very close to the center of the Earth. After the outer core comes the inner core. The inner core of the Earth is a ball of solid iron. It is so hot that it glows with white light. Go 860 miles straight down, and you will be at the center of the Earth. The center of the Earth is a place where east meets west, north meets south, and up meets down. At the center of the Earth, there is nothing under you. Every direction is up. Your feet are pointing up, and your head is pointing up, both at the same time. Because there is nothing under you, you will weigh nothing. You will float inside your nose spaceship. The weight of the whole world will press down on your ship. Do not stay long. Go straight ahead and begin the long trip up. Go 860 miles through the inner core and 1,300 miles through the outer core. Drill up and up through the mantle, and then through the magma, and then through the crust, and then through rocks and sand and clay. At last, you will come to the surface. You will be about 8,000 miles from where you started to dig on the opposite side of the world. If you started in the United States, you will come up at the bottom of the Indian Ocean. It will be delightfully cool, but full of sharks. Stay in your submarine and steer it to the top. There, you can open the hatch. You will see the sky and the sun. Or perhaps it will be night, and you will see the moon and the stars. If you have a sail, hoist it and start sailing home. Or else paddle. When you get home, you can tell everyone you have dug the deepest hole in the world and are very, very glad to be back on top of the Earth.
I dig that. Yeah, it's so gross outside. Holy cow. Like, I went out and it was still raining and my glasses immediately fogged. That's what's going on here, and this is why. Ugh, that's the worst. All right. Anyways, here's a promotional film for Ontario. Enjoy.
How to dig a hole to the other side of the world. Find a soft place.
Beautiful, bustling Ontario. Province of plenty in a country blessed. Colorate, diverse. Friendly places. Friendly faces. With a strong sense of the old. And the constant excitement of the new. Ontario, with places to go and places to grow. Room to get involved and room to get away. Never far from where water greets the land. Rivers and streams, great lakes and small. In the north, lakes unlimited. Moments unhurried. Creatures untamed. And some of the best fishing in the world. Waterways for power. Waterways for commerce. Most of all, waterways for pleasure. Rent a houseboat or take a boat tour through 1,000 islands in the sun near Brockville. Anchor in a quiet cove and watch the sun go down over a castle in the Great St. Lawrence. Travel inland from the St. Lawrence River 240 miles along the Trent-Severn Waterway to the shores of Georgian Bay and on to Lake Huron. The Rideau Canal links Ottawa, the nation's capital, with Kingston. When winter comes to Ottawa, the canal is turned into Canada's longest skating rink. Finding out about static electricity at the Museum of Science and Technology. remembering the pioneer days of inner space in a city rich in pageantry, tradition, and attractions, such as the Royal Canadian Mint and the National Gallery, home of Canada's proudest collection of artworks. May is tulip time in Ottawa. The annual festival began when Juliana of the Netherlands presented Canada with bulbs from Holland in return for World War II hospitality. Visit the House of Commons and walk the halls of power amongst the echoes of history and decision. One of the most stirring sights in Canada, the 45-minute summer changing of the guard on Parliament Hill. Ontario remembers. Fort Henry at Kingston was Upper Canada's mightiest stronghold when built in 1832, and remains one of its most vivid lessons in history. At Morrisburg, the life, times, and dignity of the United Empire Loyalist pioneers are recreated and celebrated at unforgettable Upper Canada Village, where even the dye used to color the wool is made from flowers grown in the village gardens. International plowing matches and country fairs highlight the season in rural Ontario, some with horses and broad backs. Most the easier, modern way, all in search of the perfect furrow. Ontario country fairs offer all the fun, smells, and sounds of home cooking and kids, midway, cattle shows, and steam. A sleek, speedy turbo with daily passenger service between Canada's two biggest cities, Montreal and Toronto, nerve center of business and communications, and home of the CN Tower, the world's tallest freestanding structure, with a view you'll never forget. Toronto, where concrete and glass can be beautiful, as modern as the day after tomorrow, with a city hall that epitomizes all that is progressive, bustling Ontario. Ontario Place, futuristic playground on the banks of Lake Ontario, Toronto's space-age recreation of the atmosphere of old Venice. Sir Henry Pellet wanted his 98-room castle to be North America's largest when he built it in 1911. Castle Loma was, and still is. Rich in spaces green, Toronto has a 600-acre island park where the signs say, "Please walk on the grass," and everybody does. sleepy, colorful Yorkville Village, where the old Victorian houses have shed their reserve and gone modern in the name of youth, good times, and style. Cosmopolitan Toronto, city of new faces and new ways imported from older, distant lands. At Kensington Market, the fruit and vegetables are for feeling, the pickles in barrels, the fish live in tanks, the cheesecake divine, and the shopping a social adventure. Toronto's a nice place to be after dark. Good restaurants, the best jazz in the land, and theaters big and small, classical or modern. And if you feel like a change of scenery, dinner and an evening of theater or music, it's just a pleasant summer drive away at the world-famous Shakespearean Festival on the banks of the quiet Avon River at Stratford. They're off at Woodbine, home of North America's oldest established horse race, the annual Queen's Plate, run for Canadian-bred 3-year-olds since 1860. The roar of Mosport, one of the finest Grand Prix tracks on the continent, less than an hour's drive from Toronto. Hamilton, steel capital of Canada, in a province that is the industrial soul of a nation. The farms of Ontario on a lazy, hazy day in summer. Peaceful, prosperous, and green. London, an important financial and industrial city, home of the University of Western Ontario. And a fantasy park with an old woman who lives in a shoe for children of all ages on the banks of the River Thames. The International Blossom Festival in the Niagara Fruit Belt, a fragrant and colorful annual celebration of beauty and growth. Happy days of wine and roses, and the expectation of bountiful crops. Niagara Falls, pride of Ontario, wonder of the world. Once seen, never forgotten.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Niagara Falls Spanish Show Car. Now, viewers on the riverside, you
Hang safely 120 feet above the Niagara whirlpools as the waters rush through the gorge to the quiet welcome of Lake Ontario.
Now, viewers on the whirlpool side, you are viewing the whirlpool itself.
Ride the Maid of the Mist to the very foot of one of the world's most wondrous natural marvels. Ontario and Niagara, rainbows in the mist, holidays to build a dream on.
I gotta say, what was it? It wasn't last year. It was year before last. I was in Toronto for Canadian Thanksgiving, and I did some screenings. And I love Toronto, man. It was awesome. And it was comically clean and polite. It was to the point where people were like on the public transportation, which is awesome. I like was trying to get past someone, and they're like, "Oh, sorry." So it was pretty hilarious. All right, and I would live there if I could, because it's like a nicer New York City, and it has more interesting ethnic food there. And I was able to find a okonomiyaki, a place that made them. These Japanese kind of like cabbage pancakes that were delicious. So anyways, yeah, there you go. If I was going to leave the country, I'd try to go to Toronto because I love it there. All right, this next film. So yesterday we showed From Trees to Lumber, and this one is a more up-to-date look at how great trees are, made by a company that routinely cuts down trees. Here's Forests for the Future. Enjoy.
Forest is a provocative word. For almost everyone, it has a personal definition. The forest is a place where nature lives to be glimpsed or to be sought and captured. For some people, it is a place to share in pursuit of exercise or unexpected beauty. The forest is a place of discovery, the first taste of a special sweetness. And it is adventure, the challenge of following an unfamiliar trail. For some people, the forest is a living museum, a heritage from the past to be left unchanged. For us, it is also a living resource of the future. We are Westvaco. We make paper, packaging, and chemicals. And we own and manage forests in South Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, the Ohio-Mississippi Valley, and Brazil. Pine and hardwood, more than 1 million acres in all. These woodlands ensure that we can meet the needs of our customers and provide rewarding experiences for all who visit here in the years ahead. This is the forest for the future. Better forests begin with better trees. We select pine cuttings from superior trees in the wild and graft them to rootstock in our seed orchards. In just a few years, they produce mature, seed-bearing trees. Westvaco was a pioneer in genetic tree improvement. Our first-generation seed orchard was started more than 20 years ago, but the research still goes on. Outstanding strains of southern pine are pollinated artificially for controlled crosses. We're looking for faster-growing trees with good fiber characteristics and resistance to disease, insects, and fire damage. The improved seeds are harvested in the orchard and planted in our seedling nursery. West Vaco accounts for the planting of about 25 million seedlings a year. The ones harvested here in our South Carolina nursery include several genetic strains designed to be superior in the soil and climate conditions where they will grow, from the coastal plain to colder Piedmont slopes. Packed in waterproof bags and stored in refrigerated vans, the seedlings are shipped to their destinations. On prepared sites, they are planted by machine, the small beginnings of an improved forest. Forest management depends on knowledgeable people. We have about 185 professional foresters, including our first-line managers who supervise our woodlands throughout the growing cycle. Their work includes measuring tree heights and growth rates and assessing the overall condition of selected stands. This kind of information, collected at regular intervals, becomes part of the accurate, current inventory we maintain for every block of timber we manage. The total inventory is stored in a central computer. Accurate information is essential in planning a continuous supply of fiber for our mills. Foresters in each woodland submit cutting budgets of areas to be thinned or cropped for 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years ahead. These budgets form the basis of the company's master supply plan. Another source of accurate information is surveying. Our woodlands have thousands of miles of boundary lines. Our crews have to measure and maintain every mile. By the time they finish, it will be time to start again. Forest management requires patience. Our plans extend more than half a century ahead. But to realize our future, we work at it every day. By the time our fast-growing pine plantations are about 12 years old, they're ready to be thinned. A mechanized shear first cuts corridors through the stand. Then it moves to either side and cuts, wherever possible, the imperfect and slow-growing trees. The shear can gather several trees at a time. In the thinning, about 30% of the plantation will be cut. The remaining trees, with more room to grow, will mature quickly. Almost all of our logging operations are mechanized to move the wood efficiently and economically. These logs from the thinning cut will be chipped to make wood pulp for paper. Under most circumstances, fire in the forest is a tragic event. Wildfire burns more than trees. It also destroys the habitat of wildlife. But carried out professionally, under controlled conditions, prescribed burning is actually beneficial to pine forests. When weather conditions are favorable, a line is plowed on the downwind side of the area to keep the fire from getting out of control. When the fire is started, it will back cleanly and slowly from this line into the wind. Prescribed fire helps reduce the chance of wildfire by burning the dry brush on the ground. This underbrush is competition for the desired pine species. Removing it improves their growth. Fire also releases nutrients into the soil. And when the tender new growth appears, the wildlife habitat will be improved. Prescribed burning is good pine management. We manage different kinds of forests, but we manage them all intensively. Through such management, our lands and forest industry lands in general now grow 1.5 to 2 times as much wood as other privately owned lands. And we're also moving more rapidly toward reaching our growth potential. That's why we have a cooperative forest management program to extend our technology to other landowners. We advise them about the best ways to manage their own timberlands. We may suggest removal of undesirable trees or a general thinning for improved growth. We are committed to vigorous, productive woodlands, capable of supplying forest products for as long as we need them. Well-managed private lands add productive acreage and help to make up for the loss of forests to other land uses. Our wood fiber comes from our own lands and from private landowners. But not all of the wood goes directly to the paper mill. Saw timber is the best end use for large logs and brings the highest economic return. We sell such logs to sawmills and contract with them for their trim waste. 50% of our fiber now comes from wood waste, usually in the form of chips. We also grow or purchase pulpwood where it's most economical and deliver it to the paper mill. Here the wood will become chips and then pulp and finally products, paper, packaging, and chemicals. The appetite of our mills for wood, both hardwood and pine, grows as demand by our customers increases. As part of our plan for growth, we intend to increase the productivity of our woodlands and to add additional acres, so that eventually we'll be able to supply between 50 and 75% of our fiber from our own lands. Good roads are essential for moving wood from our woodlands to the mills. We now maintain 1,700 miles of roads and bridges, and we're building new ones every year. To support the traffic of heavy machines and trucks, and to safeguard the forest environment, construction of main roads equals or exceeds federal standards. The terrain poses special problems. We have to protect the hillsides in West Virginia and prevent flooding in the coastal plain of South Carolina. We also maintain about 1,000 miles of canals here for drainage. To reduce erosion, especially in mountain sites, we replant roadsides. This machine sprays a combination of grass seed, fertilizer, and mulch so that it clings to the bare slope. When the grass comes out, it holds the soil and offers both food and cover to small animals. Good drainage and well-built bridges protect both slopes and streams. The health of our waterways is another responsibility of forest management. We monitor streams regularly to make sure that silt from roads or waste from logging operations have not impaired the quality of the water. With portable equipment, We can make chemical tests to verify purity or determine the causes of any change. Fishermen drive on our roads. Native fish live in our streams. Our management is beneficial to both. When we harvest trees, we are concerned about the impact on the environment. We know that the sites we harvest are the sites where our next forests will grow. This stand of hardwood trees in West Virginia is being clear-cut. That is, all the trees are being harvested at once. Clear-cutting actually improves the chances for new growth, especially with the logging techniques we use to protect the soil and vegetation of these steep mountain slopes. Steel cables lift the logs above the forest floor, leaving soil and small plants virtually undisturbed. Our management program calls for clear-cutting small blocks, 40 acres or less, and leaving large areas around them uncut. This reduces the impact of logging operations and still provides us with the fiber we need. We get more usable fiber from logs with a modern technique called whole tree chipping. A portable chipper is set up at the logging site. It swallows trees whole and turns them instantly into chips. Advances in paper-making chemistry permit the entire tree to be used. None of the valuable wood resource is wasted. And it's more economical to move chips to the mill than to move logs. Appalachian hardwoods are self-regenerating. The new growth is already here, and clear-cutting has opened up the area to light and air. This block was clear-cut 3 years ago. Nature has reforested abundantly, and desirable species are coming back strong. Our goal is to have a mix of healthy stands of different ages for a continuing supply of the raw materials we need to make our products. We achieve the same result in a different way with pine trees. After a pine clear-cut, we restore the site and replant it with seedlings. On some soils, helicopters are used to spread fertilizer in pellet form. Within months, the seedlings are hidden by the new growth, which covers the restored clear-cut. Waste from the clear-cut, piled in windrows, provides excellent cover for wildlife. And large hardwood trees have been left for drainage and for roosting sites for birds. In 3 years, the pines have outgrown the competition and stand taller than a man. In 4 years, they average about 12 feet in height. 8-year-old stands look like this. Here in South Carolina, they'll be ready to harvest at 25 to 30 years of age. Part of our plant improvement program is a search for better, faster-growing hardwood varieties, especially sycamore and cottonwood. West Vaco pioneered the use of hardwood chips in making paper. And today, we are grafting superior sycamore cuttings to rootstock in our seed orchard. The trees that will grow from grafts like this will be identified and graded for performance until eventually we produce a stock of improved sycamore seeds for superior forests. Near the Mississippi River in western Kentucky, we've been growing hardwoods on plantations for several years. cottonwoods are planted in rows from cuttings between November and March. Each cutting is simply a length of dormant stem, which in this rich soil will sprout and flourish. By late spring, young trees are being cultivated like a garden. In fact, plantation sites are cultivated as many as 7 times the first year to keep down weeds. These sycamores started as seedlings a little more than a year ago. Growing crops of fiber is ideal management, but it's possible only on farmland sites like these. In their 3rd growing season, these cottonwoods have reached an average height of 30 feet. They begin to look like a forest. 100 feet tall at age 10, this cottonwood stand will be ready for harvesting in 2 more years. Other plantations are growing to take its place. Each year, on company lands, we plant more trees than we harvest. Wildfire is the destroyer. We can only hope to catch it early.
It's coming from Jedburgh Road.
Our spotter planes help by finding and plotting a new blaze. The race against wildfire depends on good communications, the teamwork of good people, and the equipment to bring it under control. We have ground equipment for firefighting, and even an air force in our southern woodlands. The bombers are our most effective equipment. They carry water mixed with a retardant. The fire boss coordinates the force with the help of accurate maps and information from people already on the scene. The bomber makes its run at the head of the fire, knocking it down. But our resources on the ground, men and equipment, will finally put the fire out. Our people are on 24-hour alert during the fire season. The wind machine helps to keep the fire from advancing by wetting down the woodland ahead of the flames. The fire plow is the workhorse of our firefighting effort. It plows a trench through the plantation from which backfires can be set. Men and equipment can contain a wildfire, but never without cost. And the cost is spread over a long period of time. Wildfire in a young plantation like this can destroy 8 or 10 years of good management. We manage our growing woodlands for multiple use, for the production of fiber, and for other dividends. We manage for clean streams, and we set aside parts of our forests for the pleasure of the people who visit them. Our Edisto Nature Trail in South Carolina preserves a natural forest on the site of a centuries-old plantation. It provides a variety of experiences for a variety of visitors. We are stewards of the land we own, and part of our responsibility is to maintain habitat for wildlife, for endangered species like the southern bald eagle, and for game animals. The forest is our renewable resource. We're improving its productivity with intensive, responsible management to provide a source of wood fiber for all the paper, packaging, and chemicals our customers will need in 5 or 10 or 50 years from now. For West Vaco, the forest is for the future.
Sorry about that. Anyways, so exciting. All that production music in there. There was a couple of songs that sounded very familiar with the bongos. And I'm sure that YouTube will tell me later tonight what those songs are. But thanks for joining us today. I appreciate you watching. Hopefully there was some in this grab bag of stuff that's by letter and size. Hopefully there were some things of interest in there to you. And if you like what you saw, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button. You can also watch other videos that we have on our site. Just don't watch the rabies one, because for some reason that's getting traction again for some reason. But you can also donate via the Super Thanks button, via patreon.com, via ko-fi.com/abgeeks for both of those. Anyways, everybody have a great rest of your day. I'm just going to hang out inside, I think. I might go to a storage unit, which is very well air conditioned. It's in a basement, so I might do that too, but ugh, this is so gross outside. Everybody take care, and we will see you tomorrow.